Bing bong. Hello, welcome. It is I, Mr. Feline, back again with another Project Raymond live stream. How are we all doing, guys? Wow, a lot of you here. Hello, fellow citizens, Crippsy Cripplers, as some have taken to call yourselves. Good to see you. Let me show you what I've been cooking. Oh, hey, my fire's here. It's been a while, man. How you doing? All right, so is my desktop on? Cool. So let me show you some stuff. I just want to show you what I've been working on the model throughout the week, and then we'll get into some. We're going to be doing some texturing stuff today, but it's a specific kind of texturing. But I've been doing some other stuff in the meantime. One of the things is I've been redesigning Gabi's armor. So, and I want to preface this by saying that when this model's done, I think people who have been following the project longer are probably going to need some time to adjust, because I have made quite a bit of changes. So this here is the old design from the old model, and there are some issues with it, because what I did with the model to test things out on the new one is that I imported the suit model from the old model and just superimposed it over the top, but I had to stretch and move a lot of pieces for it to work. So if we go to the old... Oh yeah, and I've also finished texturing Gabi's base, like the undersuit. That's the textures for that are finished, but we'll get to that in a second. I want to show you sort of the armor, some of the problems with it. So what I did, this is old armor, and you can tell because the texture... This is actually a great time as well to show you this texturing technique and its strengths. And you can see the old textures. You can see how like pixelated and blocky they are, because this part of the armor is from the old model. But then if I go and zoom in, actually here's a great one too. Like there are these armor pieces from the old model, and then here behind it on the undersuit is the new model. And you can see it's very, very, very crisp, very sharp. So that's all of what we did last week was sort of, that's what it was for. Is to get that very sharp look. Now with the armor, there's this issue where I had to like move and rescale bits of it to fit the legs, because this suit was designed for old Gabi, who is not anatomically correct, as I later found out. So that the fact that because I think her old legs are like real skinny, like spaghetti noodles, and the armor legs here kind of balance that out on the old one, but on the new one they look a lot chunkier because they have to be to actually fit on legs that are modeled correctly. So I started looking at it and I was like, I don't know, this just looks a bit goofy. It looks like I've had to like stretch the shoes out a lot to fit around. You can tell it's very stretched. And there's weird clipping problems as well. I don't know what's going on there. But what I decided to do instead, because there's something that's always bothered me about this armor, and there's a few things. First of all, animating with it was a pain because it would get in the way a lot. Like when I would move Gabi's legs around on the old model, the bits of the armor would clip into each other a lot, and that was quite annoying because it's just, you know, it's just like, oh, this is not right, you know, it just isn't practical. And I reckon now I could probably design a better suit. Like, yeah, if we take this, I made this pose to test the weights of the suit. Ignore the thighs are still broken and they're going to twist around. But I've positioned this one in such a way where the knee is bending, and you can see it isn't even bending that much, and bits of the armor are clipping into each other. And even for bending the hips, there's this bit on her hip that used to be a big problem for the old model, where if she was wanting to bend her leg up at all or lean forward, her, like that part of her armor on her hip would like pinch in to her torso. And I thought, man, that looks pretty uncomfortable. Why don't I help Gabi out and give us some better drip, if you know what I'm saying? So I redesigned them to this. So I've tried to keep the design close. It still has the same features, like the key bits that I think people like the most about it, which are like the neon stripes, and that's kind of it, I guess. It's just the big white pieces and the stripes like these little Tron bits here. So I've kept those because I like them. But I've also gotten rid of a lot of stuff I didn't like. So for example, one thing that was annoying, I thought it was cool when I designed it at the time, but that was years ago. I had these little nibs attached to bits of the armor, and I don't know, man, like, I thought they were cool. But having now drawn the character hundreds of times, having to animate and weight paint that, I just thought, man, why did I do that? That was like, that's not fun. Like, I don't like, whenever I draw a thumbnail for YouTube, and because the character's very small on my YouTube thumbnails, I have to draw in these little bits. I don't, like, even here, they're actually more detailed than they are on this drawing. Like, if we go and actually look, there actually is a stripe in between all of them, but I didn't even bother drawing it on the concept, because I just wanted to see what the old one looked like in comparison. But it's just like, those little details, and the ankles too. There was a big problem with the ankles, where you can't really move her feet around that much because the ankle joint, like, yeah, if you try and move it up, it starts clipping into the, there's so much clipping. And I'm like, all right, I gotta free up her ankle joint so that they articulate better. Same for the knee. And also, she doesn't have a knee pad. She used to in one of the earlier concepts, but when I got to modeling the old model, I didn't bother finishing the knee pad because I couldn't get the weights to work on it properly. So I just left it out. But this whole time, Gabi's been parkouring, and she's had no knee protection, so her knees are completely destroyed. And that's kind of not good, considering that she actually does have kneecaps modeled in now, right? Because her old model, it was so bad that she didn't even have proper kneecaps. Like, if we remember looking at the, I don't know if I think I might have shown it a few streams ago, comparing the knee topology. But considering that her legs are like anatomically correct now, yeah, it's just goofy looking at this armor. It's completely not practical. And I was like, all right, well, I know it's more work, but I really feel like this is an opportunity for me to design something I'm happier with, because I'm gonna have to draw this character hundreds more times, and I don't want to have to deal with these, like, not only the joints and the practicality, but all the tiny details I wish I didn't add, like these little nibs. I know, like, they look kind of cool, but it doesn't really add anything to the character, I don't think. Like, I'm now starting to be a lot more critical of my designs, and I'm thinking, what is essential? What is just fluff? And I think I've boiled it to a point where I'm a lot happier with it. So here, weirdly enough, I don't know if it looks any less detailed, because I was trying to do something less detailed, but I kind of find that there's more line work going on here. But there is less detail as well. So instead of those little nibs, I don't have anything. And I've just got these big, broad sort of shapes. I think it's because I use more colors, I think. That could be why it looks more detailed, because I've used more of the dark gray. But, sorry, the light gray. Because I didn't use it that much on the old ones. But I've got those in now. And she's got knee pads. So that was like a requirement. She's got to have knee pads, because that makes sense. So I've drawn this from the front and from the sides. The shoes I'm still kind of working on. I've done very low detail sketch of them here, and I need to work out something a bit more articulated. But this is to kind of demonstrate the shape I want it to have, because when I look at this concept, if you imagine the silhouette, it's quite bulky. And I think I was able to get away with it with the last model, because I think her feet were actually too small. So you didn't really notice it, because the feet were the wrong size. But now that everything's the right size, the armor just doesn't fit her anymore. You know, she's outgrown it. That's basically what I'm saying. She outgrew it. She's grown, and she outgrew her old clothes. So giving her new rags, you know what I'm saying? So I wanted these shoes to have a much more angular, narrow shape. And I'm like taking inspiration from like gymnasts and ballerinas, because I want her to be a bit more graceful. And with like ballerinas, for instance, their shoes are very streamlined and compact. And I thought, maybe I want to try that and see how that goes. And I'm pretty happy with the shape of this. I still need to work out some of the details. And I'm not sure how the joints are going to work for the toe joint. I haven't worked that out yet. But I've just been focusing on the... I started modeling it just to test it. So I've got like a very low poly bit. So just to test out, because the thing is, I can draw it all I want, but I honestly, like, I can draw it and I won't know if it'll actually work. So what I decided to do yesterday was, it's very low poly. it clips into some bits here and there. It's not perfect. The weights aren't done right, but just wanted to see if I could bend the knee and have it work. And sure enough, it actually works because I have a big enough gap on the upper piece to allow the knee, to allow the, I know the name of that muscle, that, you know, the back of the leg on the lower leg. I keep forgetting the name of that muscle for some reason. It's not the shin. Well, whatever. You know the one. It's it slots in pretty well now, and she has knee protection, so it's a win-win-win. And I can and when I straighten it out, I don't know. There's something about it that, at least to me, looks a lot more practical and form-fitting and less goofy. So I can like bend that around, and it looks like the armor is fitted to her rather than these big bulky pieces just like screwed onto her suit. Like, it feels like, I don't know. I like it more, so I'm doing it like this. I like the shape that these make too, like the little, the undersuit, like the contours where it goes and then into the smaller line. I like how that looks as well. So I was working on some of that, but we've done plenty of modeling on stream as it is, so I just wanted to show you some of that progress. We're going to be doing some stuff with the material today, because just to mix things up, because you guys have seen plenty of modeling. But yeah, that's how the armor's looking. Let me just turn off the pose, and I'll turn off that for the moment. Well, yeah, well, that's how it looks with it straight on with the straight leg. So yeah, so just imagine it with the detail, and that's, you know, it'll hopefully look cool. Hopefully this is not going to be a pain to texture either, because it's like hard surface. But I don't know. We'll find out, I guess, later on. Oh yeah, sorry. I'll see what you guys reckon. Oh, thanks, Raven. Raven ordered stickers. Thanks so much. If you guys would like to order stickers too, and I will need to design new ones. So these will be like limited now because I've changed her design a bit. But if you want to get the old design of the stickers, there you go. That's at the available link down below. This will be the last set where they have this design. I'll have to redraw all of these for the new one. So get them while you can if you want that specific armor design. Bring back No, Gabi has no sister. I don't know what you're talking about. She's not real. Gabi has no sister. So, what am I gonna do today? Let me, real quick, I just gotta open Photoshop. Because what we're gonna be doing, because someone pointed this out last stream, something about the colors, and what they didn't know was, because one of the reasons I tend to, like, I'll see a lot of people try and help me, but I'm the kind of person that I like to figure things out on my own usually. And what I've found is, because there's a specific way I set up this thing, and I remember that it was like just at the end of the stream I got this message, and it was someone that was like really annoyed that I wasn't reading their messages. And it was something about changing the color space because the colors were showing up wrong. But that's actually not what it was. So you can see at the moment the colors look okay, right? I think last stream they looked really washed out. Now that actually isn't a color space thing. That's actually because of my custom shader. So that was probably the reason I didn't get around to that message, because it isn't, there's nothing to do with color space. Let me show you how that works though, because we're gonna be kind of talking about colors today, just to mix things up, because I haven't shown this bit on stream yet. I just gotta find, I gotta select the mesh. Oh, and there's one more thing I was also working on. Sorry, I forgot to mention. I just want to I'll show you just this last little bit, and then we'll get to the color, just to show you what I've been up to. But there was another thing I'm working on. I was thinking to do this on stream, but it's gonna be difficult. So I'm gonna save this maybe for another one. But I made some progress towards. Oh, why is it not letting me? Oh, with the skeleton. Sorry, I had the rig selected. But if I turn off the solidify modifier real quick, you can see that I've actually been changing up the facial topology a little, because later on, we're not going to do this today because I still need to research some stuff about it, but I've been trying to get the cheek topology to to accommodate normal editing, which we're going to get to later, where we can control like the shadows and stuff. So part of the reason this still looks a bit off is because, well, the colors are a little bit off still, and the shading is still a bit off. But that's where normal editing comes in. So what I've tried to do a bit of, this was like last night, I was trying to make it so that that's what the shadows looked like on the old model. Sorry, from yesterday's like progress. And then that's how I've tried to do it now. Now, I haven't done any custom normal editing yet. I'm just doing topology work. I still need to research this though, so that's why I'm not going to do it today, because I still don't really know what I'm doing here. But you can see that the shadow is a lot more triangular compared to this one, where it's a lot more blobby. Because it's a combination of topology and normals. And for those who don't know what normals is, it's basically like controlling how an object is lit. Now, unfortunately, the Guilty Gear models I've been researching do not have their normals. They have calculated automatic normals. So I've had to like try and... the research has been pretty scarce on that. So I've just been like trying to trial and error it and work it out on my own. But I'm working, it's getting slightly better, but I need to spend more time on that. That's kind of probably going to be a very painful bit, but it'll kind of be the sort of finishing touches. But anyway, for the colors and the material, because I want to focus on that, because I know a bit more about how the material works than I do about the normals. Now, it so happens that I made a material for this on the old model, and this is the exact same material. So we're not going to be changing the material, but for the material to work correctly, we do need specific texture maps, which I don't yet have. So at the moment, you might look at this and then look at like my stickers, for instance, right? And you'll notice that the colors are a little different, and the shadows are like the colors of the shadows and the highlights are all a little different. And that's because at the moment I'm just kind of band-aiding it. But if I clear these textures, so this is what I think these are what the colors looked like last stream, I believe. Or something like, oh, not like that. Yeah, they looked like this. They looked very washed out, right? So this is not a color space thing. This is because the shader I have requires a few different materials to get the color to look the right way. Because what essentially we're going to do, because I think I was mainly focusing last stream on the base color. So that's just Gabi's color palette and getting it on the model. But what I didn't mention was, with this shader, the idea is we want to be able to control not only the base color, but the colors of shadows and material properties as well, which sounds a bit weird because it's like, it's a cell shader. What material properties are there? Well, let's say for the hair, I want there to be like specular on the hair, but not like the bad CGI specular, like an actual cell shaded looking specular. And the material I've written lets me do that, but for it to work, you need specific texture maps to actually make it work. So the reason why this is all washed out and white when I assign blank textures to these is because it is applying the specularity to the whole model. And what the specular does, it just adds white to a certain area. But if I've got it all over the whole texture, then it's going to look washed out like this. And I think the texture I'm using is just this gray texture. So if I try and find maybe a, I don't know, I don't have any white textures imported. What about this? Maybe this, yeah. So you can see here, this is if I use a texture with white on it for the specular. You can see it just completely, just completely like, it looks like she's seen a ghost, you know what I mean? So to get this to work correctly, you got to do like this weird kind of texture workflow, which we're going to do. So this is Gabi's texture as of last week. It's just the basics. And I do have a video on this, so I'm going to try and like walk through what I'm doing as best I can. But a lot of this is going to be kind of weird and unconventional, so you'll just have to trust me. I kind of wanted this one to be a bit more relaxed, because I know what I'm doing with these from memory, because I've already set up all the layers, and all I have to do is sort of put them all in the right spot. And then you'll be able to see what should happen is we should have like some specular going on. I want to get specular on the hair, and I want to get maybe a little on the skin, I'm not sure. and then like the correct shadows, because that's another thing. What I should probably do, I'll show you the textures for old Gabi, and I'll show you, there's a lot of this probably doesn't make any sense. So let me show you the three, because we need 3 textures to control this shader to get the right colors. Let me open what Gabi's old ones looked like. I just gotta find the file. All right, give me a minute. So, here we go. So I'm just gonna open the texture file for her old armor, because this actually has all of what I'm talking about on it. So give it a minute. All right, so this was her old armor, and you can see it's very washed out. Not great color choice, but that's neither here nor there. What we do have though is, this is what like the base texture map looks like, and that's what we've completed now with this new texture. So that's the current, that's like the base color. We then have this texture map, which is called, I believe it's called the SSS map in the Guilty Gear. That's the game whose style I'm referencing here. So their workflow, they have the SSS texture, which stands for subsurface scattering, except it isn't real. It's not like RTX subsurface scattering. It isn't that kind of stuff. It's like faked subsurface scattering. So that's why in anime you look at like, well, hey, yeah, you look at sort of the shadows I've picked for these stickers, and you'll see that the shadows aren't like dark gray. Like you see Gabi's head, like in this one, you could see that the shadows are like a reddish, pinkish color. So that's what subsurface scattering means. It means a bit more than that, but that's the gist of it. It's just so that when you have the skin in shadow, it isn't like this bad color. It's like a nice, lush, natural color. And then for bits like the armor, I had those shaded in blue. So this map, it does look rather odd, but it's multiplying this on top of the base texture. And when you get that correct, I'll see if I can find the old model materials, because those, it's set up properly in oh wait, no, I don't want to overwrite. Let me save this. Blender, hello. Oh, it's not okay. So let me show you what the colors, well, not what the colors should look like, but how they should behave. Because old Gabi's color palette is a bit more sickly in comparison. But you can see here on the old model, this, I probably could do better now, but the hair has this sort of dark bluish pink color, and the highlights sort of have this more vibrant pink. And this is how this texture looks. So that's the base map, that's the shadow map. And it multiplies it multiplies this color for the shadows. That's basically what it does. But then there's more. This is where we get a bit more complicated. Then there's the ILM map. And I think ILM, if I recall, stands for inner line work. And it actually does more than the line work. It does 4 things in one texture, which is pretty radical, but it uses different color channels. So it's pretty weird, and this texture is the wackiest looking of the lot. So it looks something like this, and it has an alpha channel as well. So what do all of those do? Why is it like that? All right, well, let's break it down. So the red channel, I'll have to remember which is which. I think I might have a document for that somewhere to tell me which color is which channel, because I haven't touched these in years, so I can't remember. But I know that one of them is specular size, one is specular intensity. I think it's I don't know which is, I know that the green is not specular. I think it's the red that is the specular size and the blue that is the specular intensity. And then the green is occlusion. Now, occlusion is done with another, it's done by the texture and something else. But I'll see if I can, I'll get Gabi's other texture map for her skin, because I use that a bit more on this other texture to show you what the idea is. But and I need to find, there's a document that tells me which channel is what. I just got to remember I don't know if I've got it on hand at the moment. I might have to go and watch my old video again to remember, but I know it's... I think by looking at it, I should be able to tell, or I'll be able to figure it out, probably. So, or I might have them labeled, actually, on the... Yeah, I think I've got them labeled on the folders, so let's check what those are. So if I go specular... Okay, so the red... Oh, the blue is specular size, the red is specular intensity, and the green is occlusion. So this is how Gabi's body for the old model was textured, so that it would do all these things. So when you combine them all, it looks atrocious. It looks absolutely horrid. But let's take her face right here. So let's break it down by color. So right here, this is her face, and this is the old model's one, so it looks awful, and the UV maps make no sense, but that's what I did back then. But you can see there's these little pink spots below the eye. So when I isolate the color channels, this is the red channel. That is the, what was it? It was the specular intensity. So that's why on her old model, and I might add these to her new one as well, that's why for her old model, you see these little specular cheek, sort of the shine on the cheek, even when it's in darkness. Because I think the idea is if you have it in full white, it's always lit, I think, and then when it's gray, it's like in shadow it'll hide, and then if it's black, it doesn't do anything. So that's the idea, because in grayscale, the grayscale value controls it. Because if we isolate the channel, you'll notice that when I isolate each of these, it's in grayscale. Now the green, this one I know I'm very familiar with the green one. So the green one, this is like lighting occlusion. So in this texture map, everything in gray will act normal. If you have something in white, yeah, so it's the green channel. If in the green channel, if you have something in white, it means it will always be lit. So I could have sworn I had, I don't know, maybe I didn't, but if I was to like take one of these and cut, like if I took the hair and put it in white, then there would be no shadows on the hair. But if you put something in black, it means it'll always be in shadow. And I've actually done that on the neck. You can see here. So this whole bit underneath the face is all in shadow, because whenever I draw something in anime and whenever I see stuff in anime, it's usually the case that the neck is always like in shadow. So no matter what angle I do the light at, you'll see that the neck never gets lit, ever. And that's on purpose. Same for the kneecaps too. Now, I think what I ended up doing, because there is two ways to go about this, and I'm not sure if I did a combination of both or not. I don't know if there's any... Yeah, under the arms, I've got a bit of that as well. But you can also do this with vertex paints, which I think you can see that I've done here based on the... you can see that I've used vertex painting to control some of this. I could have sworn that I had done some by hand too, but I think this was just a vertex. Yeah, it looks like I did them all with vertex painting, looking at it now. So that's like the knee, the back of the knee, bits of the hair, and so forth. You can paint some of this by hand. I've looked at some of the Arc System models, and they do... what I've tried to do on my current model, especially for the underarm, I've modeled the topology and unwrapped it in a way. You can see my seams. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make sure that there's like this triangular pivot under the arm that's always in shadow. And I can do that now thanks to the topology that I've done. So that's all that weird wacky topology I did the other week. This is where it kind of pays off, because it lets me place, like you see this bit in orange I've just highlighted? I can make just that bit in shadow, and it'll look really sharp because that shadow is modeled into the underarm. I wasn't able to do that on the old model because the topology wouldn't support things like that. So that's just a demonstration of what we'll get to. And then there's the blue channel, and if I recall, this is the specular size. And this basically marks zones, and I can see that I misused this map a little bit because some of the stuff marked in white should not be marked in white. Like under the neck shouldn't be marked in white. I think that was probably a mistake. I shouldn't have done that. But the hair, that should be, because that's how I get this sort of ring of specular on the hair. And it also occludes in and out based on the shadows. So if it's in lighting, it'll show that specular ring, that haloing effect. And if it's in shadow, it hides it. So I think that's what happens when you have it on gray, I think. Oh no, or it just does it automatically, I think. I think if it's full white, it'll still occlude with shadow. So I've used it not great in this model because I didn't really understand what they did at the time, but I've studied more. I took my material and applied it to one of the Guilty Gear models and used their textures, and I found that it was actually great at controlling metallic surfaces. It doesn't look that good. I can show you in Engine a bit of a better example of what that should look like. So I'll open up the editor real quick because it doesn't really show it that well in Blender. I think I set it up in Unreal a bit better. You can see it very faintly here, but there actually is a specular highlight on the legs. The YouTube compression is probably not going to show it, but there is a slight little bit of highlighting, a bit of rim lighting. It's very, very faint though. It looks a lot more noticeable in Engine, so I'll show it to you there. But that's what it lets us do with the blue channel. I think it's a combination of the blue and red channel that let us do stuff like that. So what I'm probably going to use that on is when I finish the armor, I might have like that with the blue and red channel so that there's like these specular highlights around it. It might not look that good if the armor's white, so I'm not sure 100% on it, but we'll give it a shot. There's no harm in trying it. And then the hair is going to need some of that too. So the hair is going to have... I'm not sure if I'm going to draw in specular zones or just mark the whole thing as specular, because you can do that. We'll try out, we'll play around with it and see what fits the most. I get the feeling we might have to do a bit of both. But that's sort of the gist of it. That's kind of how it works. So it might be a bit hard to get your head around because it is really weird. And there's the alpha map. I forgot the alpha map. So the alpha map controls the lines. And there's a reason why this isn't on the base texture. There's a reason why this is put on the ILM map. And that is so that it isn't affected by specularity and shadows. Because you'll notice, especially when I was doing this last stream, when I was doing the fingers, you notice that a lot of the outlines are washed out. Because at the moment, in the new model, I've got the outline, the line work, I've got that on the base texture, which you don't want. You don't want it like that. I've just done it there just for time's sake while I was putting the lines in place. But to actually have the lines not be washed out when they're in lighting, you need to put that on the alpha channel of the ILM map. And then that bit of my shader will it'll factor that line work in to the shading, and it won't put the lines in shadow. Or it won't put them in light, or in specular. It'll leave them alone. But because I've got them on the base texture, that's why they look washed out like this. In fact, that's why all of the colors look washed out at the moment, because I'm just using a blank gray texture placeholder at the moment. If I, however, go in and use the... Well, actually, I don't know if you guys can see, but I have made placeholder textures for each of these. I just got to remember which goes where. I think SSS goes here. Okay, maybe not. I think that's ILM. The ILM slot is in there, and then the SSS is here. I think. Okay, maybe that's not it either. I forgot which order I meant to... Oh, no. I think I had it double wrong. I just got to remember which I plug in where. I'm pretty sure SSS is here, I think. So let's... Because these placeholders are just also the base texture, so we're going to replace these. Oh. I just got to remember what's... no, if I look at the... I do have a... Let's look at the old suit, because that has the texture set up right. So it's the SSS, ILM, ILM. Okay. SSS... Okay, so that needs to be ILM. ILM. Alright. So these are just placeholders. I don't know why it looks all washed out there. Do I have those plugged in? Okay, let me just double check if it's plugged in. Base, SSS, ILM, ILM. Base, SSS, ILM. Okay, so this is what it'll look like if I just use the base texture for all slots. And you can see it's pretty whack. It's pretty crazy. So I've just thought I put them in there just because I've got the file, I just need to like export a file to fit that slot, and once I do that, it'll like update it. So I set that up in advance just so I wouldn't have to go dig through the file explorer to assign those. But so that's what it looks like if we just use the base for everything. But you can see it solves the line work problem, but it also, all the colors for the shadow and light are completely off. So we got to do something about that. I will show you just in editor real quick what the specular should look a bit more like, because it doesn't look good in Blender for whatever reason. I can't get it to show correctly in Blender. But if I open up the old model in the engine, if we go real close, you can actually see like the 3-tone, especially on this bit here. Can you see that? So there's the mid-tone, there's the shadow, and then there's a bit of a highlight going on. So that's what I think it's the red or the blue channel, or a combination of the two, is going to allow us to do. It's going to allow us to create those 3 tones, that highlighted tone there. That's what it does. The rest of the armor, I think the white bits may have it. You can see it actually here too. You can see that there is that highlight, but I don't think it shows on the white bits because the color's too similar, I think. And then you can see it sort of showing on the cheeks there as well. Except that this is the problem though, is that the texture quality is so low on the old model that you can barely see the cheek specular at all. Because I didn't use the Guilty Gear texturing method for that one. But that's the general idea. So that's what the specular is going to allow us to do. We're going to then have the line work on in the right place, and then it allows us to also control the... You can see the shadow colors are a lot better in Engine as well, because I've got the post-processing and I've set the colors to be the right thing. I actually think I've set up volumes, because one thing I do need to work on later. Yeah, so you can see here that when I go into this bit underneath, that the shadows change color and direction. Because I can control the shadow color in Engine. You can see the shadows are very saturated now. Now, there are some drawbacks to this, and this is something I need to work on, because in the Arc System Works material, I don't think it actually reacts to world lighting. So mine doesn't either, and I think I would like it to, because I actually have to manually place these volumes to put things in shadow and light, which is really annoying. So one of the reasons I don't show people my material is that it's not... Like, you don't want to do it this way unless you're doing unless you're making Guilty Gear, which I'm not really doing, where the characters are in a static environment. So that's the only drawback, because you see if I go into this shadow, the shadows don't change. But that's going to be something for later. We don't need to do that now. We can do that afterwards. But that's a drawback of following their shader, is that it actually doesn't react to world lighting. So, I'll work that out later. Anyway. I don't want the old model open. Let's get to the textures for the new one. So that's my little seminar on how the texturing should work. Now let's see if we can put it into practice. So you can see I've actually got some alpha left over from the old one. So I'm just going to remove all that. And we'll get to work. So luckily, last stream... Oh, sorry. My Chrome window just glitched out. So luckily... If you remember from last week, I put the line work in its own folder, which was a great idea, because this needs to go on because I'm using the same Photoshop document, but don't be fooled. It's all in the one Photoshop document, but they're going to be 3 different textures, and then we're going to export them out differently. So what I'll start by doing is I'm going to turn off all the line work, and we're going to export, because I actually haven't exported these. I've just been using the Photoshop file for all of them. So we should probably export these out first. And to do that, there's a specific format it needs. I think it's the TGA format. It has to be in. Yeah, so this is what the base texture should look like. It's just the colors. I'm going to... And yeah, that empty box in the corner is going to be for the armor, but we haven't modeled that yet, so we'll leave that empty. So I'm going to save this, and I think I need to merge it, because I don't know if I go save as, I don't think it'll let me pick. Yeah, so I have to flatten the image. If I remember what button that was. I think there's a button that's like merge layers, there we go. Then I have to go save as. And then I can pick... Oh, it's still not there. Oh, there's a way to get maybe they've updated Photoshop. I don't remember exactly how. There's like a format you have to that it has to be in for this to work. And you can't get to, it's like a weird format that you can't get to it from the export menu. I think export only gives you PNG and JPEG, but I'll check here just in case. I know that yeah, it's only GIF. Yeah, that's not gonna, I think, let me merge them again. Maybe I'll change the color depth as well. Maybe that needs to be different. And then if I go save as, oh, here we go, TGA. All right, so I have to change the bit depth to 8-bit. And then we'll call this, I guess we'll just call it Gabi_base. TGA. Save. Now, I don't remember which, if it's 32 or, we'll do 32 at the moment. I don't remember which of these it's supposed to be, but we'll do 32 bits. And if that causes issues, we'll try another one. But keep in mind, I haven't had to export textures in this format in over 6 months. So there's going to be these little details I'll forget, but it'll come back to me. And then what we're going to do, just to have a image there, we are going to export these out. And these are from the old texture, but we're going to export them out just so that we have the file. And then I'm going to link that file in Blender, and then we'll be able to like iterate, go back and forth. We just got to make sure we've got something there. So this was the old ILM map. So I'll merge everything and then save as. And we'll call this Gabi_SSS.tga. And then finally, we will do the ILM map. And because of how I've done things... Oh, wait. Because of how I've done this, we should only... Because the old model had 6 textures. Because I had the armor and the... I had the armor and the body as separate materials. But I'm not going to do it like that this time. So this time, we're only going to need 3. We're only going to need half the amount. So just give me a moment. I'll open up... So this is our current folder for the new model. And there's the TGA files here. So let's assign those. So that... and this will change how this looks. But we just need to have the actual file. So I think what... let me open the image editor. Because I set these up in advance and named them. So here's Gabi ILM. And all I need to do is go to image and then just pick a different... So this is ILM, so I'll go browse, and now ILM is pointing to the right file, and then SSS, same deal. I just need to tell it to go there. So now if I go back, it's gonna look really weird. Yeah, don't panic, don't panic, don't panic. It's okay. It's just because we just need an image to slot in. We will now create the proper materials. So this, I know it looks completely horrifying. Real quick, I'm just gonna make sure that my time lapse is running, which it isn't. I have a time lapse plugin on Blender, and I didn't have that turned on. So let me make sure that's on. But I need to make sure that the viewport shading isn't locked so that I can record because I'm going to use this for the devlog on this. So let me just quickly, let me just turn off lock shading and hit record. I love this plugin because what it essentially does is it makes me not use OBS. So instead of like expensive OBS recording, gigabytes large, it just takes a screenshot of the model every 2 minutes from different angles, which is nice. So anyway, I know this looks horrifying. He looks completely cursed. But you can see that we've got some... I think it's just the specularity that's messing it up. So let's dive in. Oh, I don't think I had all of the... Oh no, I did have all the color channels turned on. So let's focus on the shadow map first. Because that's going to be Why is it? Oh, this is still the TGA file. Hold on. Let me open because every time I save it, I then have to go and reopen the Photoshop file. There we go. So let's get the shadow colors out of the way. I think what I did, I might want to do something a bit more refined this time, but what I did last time, I have some instructions written for myself here. I think what I did was I just copied the base color, and I'll move the line work out to up the top. But I think what I had was... oh, there's one more thing I should... Oh no, I think that's fine. So I have the base color. Why is my... Oh, this is open. So I had the base color. I think I just made a duplicate of it. I'm gonna sneeze, but it's not happening. Come on. Anyway, I hate when that happens. So I've got the base color here. I'm trying to zoom it in real close so you guys can read. And I put the texture here, and then I combine it. Merge group. And then I copy it, because this is like a little hack. It's just to get the approximate color. I then change this to color overlay, and I think that's it. So now our texture should look kind of like this, which looks very similar to how the Arc System textures look. And the reason why it looks this way, and I know all I did was copy a layer and move it around, but I'll show you what I've done. Because I've got these filters in place from the last texture file. So I've got I can get rid of that. Oh, I can get rid of that. So I've got the colors. I then get the color values, so it's just black and white. I then invert them. Oh, and there's another layer too. So I've got the black and white values, I invert them. I then put the colors over the top again, but with the color overlay, so that the values are inverted, but not the colors. And looking at this now, there's probably a better way to do this, but I think this is just what I made. I just made this up really quickly, this set of folders, just to get the approximate sort of look. And then over the top, I've got this layer, which has just a photo filter, which just like tints the shadows blue. So we're going to export this out and just see how it looks. Preferably, you'd want to handpick these colors, but for the sake of time, this should do. This should do all right. The suit material, I think the undersuit, I'm not sure how that'll look, but we'll see. So let's save it before I mess things up, because I have to export this as a TGA. So this will be the ILM. And then, oh yeah, I can move this out of to a different window. We don't need that open. But then if I refresh the image, and it'll still be a bit hard to see because of the ILM map. So I'll do something about that real quick. But if I go to the SSS map, and if I hit the refresh button, oh, I thought that would have done something. Wait, did I save it to the right one? I'm not sure if I did. Oh no, I saved it to the wrong file, my bad. I get the names mixed up. So I saved it to the ILM. It shouldn't be that. So let me fix that real quick. I'll just copy it. I'll just assign these both. Alright, that was my mistake. Oh. Okay, so I know it still looks whack. Bear with me. I need to put something else on the ILM slot for the moment so that the shadows aren't screwed. I just want to see the shadow, the shadow colors. So let me just temporarily, oh, okay, that's still messing up there. Well, the shadow colors look correct, but the base color doesn't. All right, that's a bit nicer. I've just like literally grayed. I've just got the default gray texture. I've just put those in the ILM slot for the moment because the alpha channel is like completely screwed. But if we just look at the shadow colors, that looks a bit more like the shadow's darker now, which it didn't. If I go and use the base, you see how here, I know it looks a little washed out, but bear with me. Actually, I'm wondering, I could have, okay, that makes it look very, there was some other, I think it was like, oh, I used this black texture. All right, I'll do that for the moment. That'll get us a result that we can like experiment with at least. But you'll notice if I use the, where is it? SSS map. See that the shadow color now is a lot more deliberate, if that makes sense. I know the normals are screwed up. Don't worry about the normals. Just focus on the shadow color. I just want to get the shadows in a good spot. And I'll tell you what, we'll turn on the background as well, so it looks a bit nicer. So let's look at it from like the back, because the hair is like really, because you're going to be seeing it from the back a lot. So we'll do it from here. And just look at like the color of the hair. So if this is with the SSS map, and this is without it, you could see that if I just use the, or even better yet, if I use, there's another, this one. If I use this, oh, well, that just makes them black, like full on completely dark, which isn't what we want. But if I use the base texture, that's like if I multiply the color on top of itself. But if I use the SSS map, you can see that there's a bit more coolness to the shadow, which I like, and the skin tone as well. We've got the skin in shadow. We compare it with just using the base texture. You can see that the skin looks like it, you know, like the shadow isn't harsh enough. Like it looks like someone who hasn't picked out a color, you know what I mean? But if I use the SSS map, you can see that it looks a lot more like the, you can see it looks a lot more like the stickers, like the shadow color. It's a lot more high contrast, and the color is like not the exact same color as the skin. It's like slightly bluer, which is, I don't know, I personally like it looking like that. The only thing is though is that the armor does look a bit strange, or the undersuit I should say. And I thought as well, I thought it would probably look a bit odd. So I think I'll have to manually pick out colors for that, because it looks, in shadow, it's like, it looks luminous, which isn't what I want. So I'll have to work on that. But we're gonna move on to get the ILM imported, and then we'll go back and adjust the shadow color. I just want to get them all in there. But if you focus on just the head, you can see it looks, the shadow color is a lot more close to the drawing. And it's going to look even better once we have the post-processing and stuff on it. Because there's a specific bloom shader that I've written that'll carry it quite a bit too. But anyway, let's get the ILM going. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy, because this is where it's going to get a little bit, I have to think a little bit about some of this. So if I go to this, because there's 3 color channels, and I've grouped these, I've set these up in a specific way, and I'll try and demonstrate how I've set this up. So what I've essentially done, because as I explained earlier, the red, green, blue, and alpha channel all control something. This is a different texture now. This is the same Photoshop document, but it's going to be a different texture. This is the ILM map, which controls lighting and line work. Basically, yeah, that's what it controls. Lighting and line work. And it uses those 3 red, green, blue channels for it. So what I've done, just to make my job simpler, is that I've set up these 3 folders: specular intensity, specular size, occlusion, and I guess line work too. I've just copied that up here. And what I've done is I've essentially, this is imported from Gabi's old texture. This is the old suit model, and you can see that I've got these zones marked out in gray and some in white. So the bits in white are the bits of the suit that glow up. That's the luminous bits. So those are always in light. They will never have shadows on them. At least I think that's what it is. This is this, I don't know. Okay, this is the specular channel. I don't know why I made those in specular. I don't think I understood what the specular channel did on the, when I did this the first time. But I know on the occlusion, yeah, you see the bright green. That means it'll always be in lighting. And it looks weird when I have it like this, but if I take it, because this is the blue, this is what the blue channel looks like. What I've essentially done is I've done it all in black and white, and then I've just added this blue fill layer with a multiply blend mode over the top with the color. So that means when I turn, and then I've got each of these folders set to screen for the blend mode. So if I turn these all on at once, these 3 folders, it combines and they all overlap on top of each other. And then because they're only one color, I can then go into the actual channels and see each of them individually. So that's a little hack I did there to make these textures. Because to do it all with green manually, color picking green, and then a darker shade of green, it's just going to take forever. So I'm just using a color overlay and multiplying them on top of each other for that. So we'll start with the green, because I am very comfortable with the green. I understand the green color channel very well. So it's gonna, with this thing on, it's gonna make it bright green. But if I turn it off, it'll just be black and white. So what I'm gonna have to do is copy the base and put it here. Because we need to because all the base bits, I've got these all as color blocks. So I can use these to set basic values for all of them. Now, I think what it's going to be is the gray is going to be, I think gray is when something can be lit and shaded. Something black is always in shadow. Something white is always in light. So to start off with the skin, and remember, we're just focusing on the black and white only. So I've just copied the colors into this folder, and I'm just gonna use the color overlay, which I set up last time. And I'm gonna set the color to mid-gray, like that. Now this is only the skin, so it looks a bit weird, like the skin is now gray. But if I put the green filter over it, you can see that this green will correspond to being the exact shade we need for a bit of skin to be in shadow and in light to control that. So thankfully I use color overlays for that, which is handy. For the mouth, we're gonna do the same thing. So I'll turn the color overlay off. So once I get a flow going, because I just got to get into the flow of it, and then I'll go read chat in a moment and see what you guys are asking. I just want to get the momentum up. So I'm going to copy this to the mouth, because basically everything that is just normal, I'm going to put in gray. So we're going to start with that. So I'm going to copy that and paste that color overlay. So everything is going to start looking grayed out. Now. Yeah, so for the undersuit, same deal. Paste layer style, paste layer style. So it's all gonna be gray. Paste layer style, so this is all for the undersuit. And then the eye. So the eye and the hair, we're gonna need to do something particular with these. So for the specular, I'm gonna leave those, I'm gonna turn off the outline, because I actually want those to be in light all the time. That's why on the old model, when Gabi's in shadow, this won't happen yet. This is what we're about to do. But you see how when the face is in shadow, their eyes also are in shadow, and the specular is also in shadow. It looks a bit strange. So what we can do is with the green channel on the ILM map is that we can tell those specular bits to always be in light, which is what I want. So that's what this will do. As for the outline, I don't think we need that layer. And I think with this, that's part of the texture, I guess. The pupil, and I think I'll just get rid of those. And I'll make the fill, we'll just set the color to mid-gray. Now, there's something missing. I could have sworn... Okay, so I didn't add this into the texture, I don't think. But there actually is meant to be an area here of the eye whites, which I actually don't have. So I'll make sure I do that. So this is the circle around the eye. I don't think... the eye is a bit wonky. I want to redo that, but we'll get to that later. I can do that later on. I want to make the UV island perfectly round, but that is not... I want to get the textures out of the way, so I'm fine with this being not the final eye. I could probably make it more detailed as well, but that'll come later. But what we do need is we need to tell the whites of the eyes, which are the bits around, of what they should do, because we actually don't have a thing for that. So I'll go back to the base, because there actually isn't... I think I'm just using the background layer, like the white background layer in Photoshop for that. So I want to make sure that I've actually got something. Because that'll mess with the shadows too, actually. Yeah, that's why... Oh, actually it's not in... Alright, well the shadow color's not bad actually, but I actually haven't specified what the shadow color for that should be. So let me just quickly do that before I forget. So on the base map, there's the eye. So I'll add this as a layer underneath the eye. We'll just make it a white square. And we'll call this eye, oh, we'll just call it whites. There's probably an actual name for it, but I just call it whites. And I'll copy this. And I'll use this on the, what's it called, this layer. And we'll make this a mid-gray as well, because we want this to be able to be shadowed. So we'll paste the layer style from that mid-gray fill. Oh, why is that not working? Oh, no, it is. I just have the base color on. There we go. So that's how the eye will look. It's just all gray with 2 white dots. And then the hair and the eyelashes. I think the eyelashes are... I want them to be... Yeah. I want them to be in black, because I don't want the eyelashes to receive color, to receive light. Now for the hair, you see this little zone? Because I've got the hair pink, the pink hair color, but then I've got this like darker pink. And what that is what I've done, just to try things out. I have actually made it so that the inside of Gabi's hair is a different color than the rest, because I thought it would look better. So if I up the strength of the lighting all the way, it's a bit hard to tell because of the lighting. Well, this is unlit. You can see that the outer hair and the inner hair, it's like slightly darker. So what I also want is that I also want that area to be in shadow all the time as well. Not only a different color, but also in shadow, which I can do. And the reason why I made it a different color and in shadow is because the Arc System Work models do that. So I figured, hey, I'll do that as well. So I'm just gonna take this part. I'm gonna, because this is all X, Y aligned, it's very easy to select this color. I'm going to make a copy and we'll just fill it. And then we will paste, yeah, we'll just make it black because we want that to be in shadow. So that'll be in black. We'll call this hair shadow. And then the rest of it, we will paste, we'll make that gray. And that's the green channel done. So if I turn the green filter on, that's how it'll look. And then if I turn everything else on, it's gonna look really weird still, but I'll tell you what, here's what we'll do. Because I can get rid of all these. Let's export this out again and just look at the green channel so that we can see this in action, because I know this probably looks very strange. So if I combine these all, I should probably, real quick, I'll just make a mid-gray. Or better yet, I'll fill this in black for the specular, because I don't want any specular yet. Or, well, I could... Alright. Actually, I don't need those. I can just export this without these 2 channels and it'll work. So, that's the green channel. And if we look at the whole texture, it's just red and blue are going to be black. Green is going to be this, which is the specular info. And that's combined. So let's export that. So I'm just going to save it. Can merge layers. File. Save as. Oh, I've got to change the bit depth. TGA, ILM. Is that the right one? Yes, it is ILM, isn't it? Yep. So I want to replace it. Cool. All right, now let's try it. So if I go to the image editor here, change the. Oh yeah, I should probably actually apply the ILM to the material. Now it's gonna look weird, but then if I refresh the image, there we go, we got something. Let's see how this looks. So already the colors are looking a lot less sickly, and you can see, oh, the strength is really high. You can kind of see that it's acting, I'm not quite sure how to tell if it's working. Because yeah, the bits of the hair still go into shadow. So I've got all the hair islands on the inside mapped to this black bit, and it doesn't seem to be all in shadow. That's a bit strange. Maybe I've got them plugged in wrong. I don't know, maybe my eyes are playing tricks on me. I don't know. Because yeah, you can see here, I'm looking at, I know it's a bit hard to see. I'm looking at this strand, because that is meant to be in shadow. And it seems to be not acting like it should. So that's interesting. Maybe I imported the material wrong. I don't know. But bits of it are working. So if I lower the strength, see how the eyes are still glowing, the specular. So that works. That's great. That seems to still be working. It's just the shadow isn't staying in shadow, which is peculiar. Because yeah, you can see if I adjust the strength, the back of the hair is like changing color, and it shouldn't be. Like the shadow isn't. I don't know what's going on with that. Maybe I do need the red and blue channels to be a certain value. I don't know. Maybe because I was looking at the remnants I had in here from the old texture, and I noticed that I had bits marked in specular that shouldn't be, and maybe that was right and I forgot. Maybe I meant to also do those. I don't know. But at least we got the highlights working. So I guess we'll move on to well, I want to test that theory first before I move on, because I want to make sure I got that right with the shadows. Because what I really want to do is do the armpit shadow, because it's going to look really cool. It's going to look like but it won't work if it isn't if the bits marked in black aren't staying in shadow. Because I could have sworn, I'll have to check. I didn't anticipate that problem. I'll have to check the old texture to make sure if I set it up correct. Let me look for it. There's a part of the eye called, Skimtree says it's called the sclera? I think maybe, yeah. Let me look that up. Oh yeah, it is. All right. Well, now I know. What? Oh, sorry. I'm just scrolling up real quick to see chat questions I missed. Thanks for being so patient. Elijah asked, what do I use to make music? I use Logic Pro, a very outdated version, but yeah, that's what I use. All right, so let me look at the texture. Gotta look at the color channels. I must have got something wrong, because this is the green channel for the old one, and the bits that are in shadow are marked as such. Now, one theory, because I used Vertex paints for this, and I mean, that shouldn't. I don't know if that was for convenience or if it needs to use Vertex painting. I'm not entirely sure. Because I haven't. I'm curious. Well, no, that doesn't make sense. I was gonna say maybe it needs to be applied through Vertex painting, but the highlights work, so that doesn't make any sense. It can't be that. The red channel is almost empty except for the hair, so it can't be the red channel. All the bits in shadow are also in the blue channel, so maybe that's what it is. I feel like that. I don't know. Maybe I have to reread the documentation for the shader again. I don't know, but I feel like that's kind of weird. But I don't know, let's try it. I did it on that last texture, so let's try it again and see what happens. So I'll copy it, and I'll just copy everything to the blue channel, and just to see what works here. Because I don't know. I feel like that, I don't know, maybe I misunderstand what the blue channel does, but I'm sure we'll work it out. So if I have that and the blue channel, no, something's not right. No, it needs to be, it was the opposite. Everything in shadow was bright blue. That's something I noticed. So let's, I think everything else was black. So let's do the blue channel. That's just my game theory. If I do get this wrong, I'll try and hunt down, there was some like complicated PDF like explaining the shader that I have lost. I had it open on one of my tabs, but I lost it. So I'll have to go and try and dig for it again. I didn't save it. I think I just had the tab open, but then Chrome crashed and I lost it. And I was like, no. So yeah. So I wanna see if I can work it out myself before I go hunting on Chrome. Because it's way more boring than just trying to work it out. Because I might get it right. So if I mark those in black. So why is... Oh, okay. That's black, black. The hair is in black. Hair shadow should also... I don't really need that on this one. The undersuit, that's it. Oh no, I do need that other layer back. Yeah, so the hair shadow needs to be in white. And then the suit needs to be... And then, yeah, all the... I think... Did I get all the layers? I thought I did. Oh no, there's one more layer that needs to be marked. And then there's the eye. I forgot to do that. I don't know if the specular also needs to be in blue. Let me check. I don't think so. But I'll check anyway. Also, the reason why the old textures take so long to load, this is so stupid. So the reason why they take so long to load is because they're in 4K, which, God, thankfully I don't need them to be 4K for this model, but that's why they're taking a while to open. Okay, so I think I've got the specular in blue as well. All right, so I'll make sure I do that. So the eye, the whites will be black. I know it sounds very weird. We're gonna make the whites of the eyes, we're gonna make them pitch black. That sounds like a very normal sentence. For the fill, we'll make that black as well. So just copy this. Then the specular, we're gonna, yeah, we'll leave that in white. And then I think, let's try that, see how it looks. So if I combine these, it'll look kind of weird, but it should work. So that's my game theory anyway. So let's save. So this, by comparison, is 1K, not 4K. So this is a quarter of the resolution, and it's like millions of times sharper than the older one. So that's pretty funny. So let's re-export this as the ILM map. Oh, why is the format not working? Oh, it's made it into a smart object for some reason. 2GA. Oh, why is that not working? Okay, let's try now. Yes, TGA. ILM, replace. Okay. Let's try this. So if I go to the ILM and just refresh, so now the shadows are in blue, and I haven't done the neck yet, but we'll get to that. Okay, it's still not quite working. All right, there must be something else I'm missing. Maybe it's the... No, it can't be the red channel. That'd be stupid. I gotta look at it again. I'm sure I can work it out. It's just been a while since I've had to texture things this way, so... Because yeah, I did research on this like years ago, and I'm literally just going from memory after having done like more programming and everything else. I'll keep the old one open. I keep closing it. What I will try to do though, just for the sake of the pace, is I will try and mark out an area under the neck. I'm just wondering how I should do that, because there's areas I want to mark with shadow besides the hair, and I'm contemplating whether to just do that in the texture or with vertex paints, because I don't remember how to use vertex paints because it's been a while. I've done them before, but that was many months ago, and I can't remember it. That's kind of the weird thing I think I've noticed a lot of people kind of don't remember about like solo devs, is that you got to wear a lot of hats. So there'll be info I pick up and it just pushes something else out of my memory because I can only remember so much. So little things like vertex painting I might forget, but I do remember how to do video editing and programming and, you know, setting up Steam analytics, all of it, like all this other stuff, and music. So there's bits of it I remember. There's also weird bits of memory I have from using Maya. Like you'll probably notice in some of these streams, I'll call things by their name in Maya, even though I haven't used Maya in like 5 years. So yeah, I don't know, it's weird. I don't always, the stuff, I really wish I could like better control what it is I remembered, but there's just so much. Can't remember it all, I guess. So it looks, I'm just looking at this. I think what I should be able to do, I'm going to try doing that with the texture, because I think I can do that with the way I've done the UVs. Because I honestly, I don't want to relearn vertex painting right now. Because I've done it like a while ago, but it was ages ago, and it'll be boring. I'd rather just stick to what I know. And I know that this UV island is the neck, so I'll mark that. I know that'll work. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to like Google how to relearning vertex painting again, which will be really boring. So let's. I think I've got where's the green channel? So I'll make a copy of skin. Change the color overlay, mark that in black, Control A, and then I'll go in here and I think it's this area. Because I marked it in a perfect square, the shadows should be pretty clean. And then there's also the bit of the armpit right here, because I remember... Don't ask how... That's the thing, I don't remember vertex painting, but I do remember exactly what all of these UV islands... like exactly what they are. I know that that's the armpit, I know that that's the collarbone, and I know that that's the neck. Oh, Cringe Lord, thank you so much for the $10. I feel so mean calling you that, but that's your username. I'm so sorry. But thanks so much, Cringe Lord, for the $10. Please pick a different name. I feel bad calling you Cringe Lord. He says, he's got a message. Let's read what he says. Followed you years ago because I liked how you explain stuff. I only played like 3 games, so I'll likely never play this when it's done, but take some money. Well, thank you so much. I do hope that one day I can make this game look so cool that you will want to play it. That's my goal. One day, maybe. I reckon I can get you. I could probably get him, but thanks so much. Okay, so if I mark that in that color, combine these, I'll turn off the red. All right, I'm gonna give that a shot. I don't know if it'll work, but we'll see how it behaves. It might because I'm only looking at the hair, so if I look at this at the rest of the body, it might give me a better idea of what's going on. So let's save. Merge layers. ILM. But yeah, I reckon Cringelord just promoted himself from Cringelord to Lord. I reckon. And if he plays the game, he'll be an epic Lord. That'd be pretty cool. So if I refresh this, okay, well it's like half working. That is funny. It is half working. I don't know if you guys noticed, but it is treating this area under the neck. It's adding more shadow to it, but it isn't going the full way, if that makes sense. You can see that it has more shadow. Like, yeah, I'll show you if you missed it. Sorry, it might be a bit hard to see. Let me show you what happened, and I have to get the UV editor open to show you. Keep an eye on the neck. It's doing something. It's just not doing it the way I want. But watch the neck. If I move this UV island over to the green, ignore the line work. You notice the lighting? See how it's in more? It's lit more. So if I put it over the black area, there's more shadows, but it should be in full shadow. I don't know why it isn't. It's very strange. It seems to, if I have the strength of the light lower, it works. I don't know, maybe that's how it always was and I just didn't notice. Maybe the strength, because I'm using the what do you call it? I don't know the name of this. I'm using the viewport shading to control it, and I've got the strength on 1, which I thought was like, yeah, well, of course 1, that's like the default. I don't know, maybe it always was like that and I just didn't notice. I don't know. Oh, thanks, Nate. That's very nice of you to say. I hope it looks rad. I hope to make it look the raddest it can. Oh, thanks, MT180. When do we get a new demo? Look, I can't say right now. All right, I've got plans. I've got stuff happening. I've only shared the plan with my patrons because they fund the devlogs. So it's like, all right, well, I'll tell you what I'm gonna do, but it's not something I'm ready to go into detail with yet. I'm still working things out. That's all I can say. But I do appreciate the excitement and anticipation. I do appreciate that, and I thank you guys for being so patient. I know it's been a long time since I've like put up a build, but you gotta understand with the builds, I couldn't keep doing it that way. It just wasn't gonna work because it was like I was making no money from it, and it's like I can't afford to keep making the game by releasing free itch builds. So those did have to stop. They were good for the purposes that they served. Like I got some good feedback from them, but once I started kind of figuring out what I was wanting to do, and you know, needing to be able to pay contractors, I was like, all right, well, I can't keep doing that, because then what would have happened is it would have just kept happening until release, and that wouldn't have, obviously that wouldn't have worked, because everyone would have just downloaded the game, and then I would be bankrupt, which then I can't release the game if I'm bankrupt now, can I? So that's but I got plans. I got something planned. I want to work it out more first before I tell people about it. But I appreciate so much your patience with it. I don't know. I'm wondering if I should... let me look at the underarm and see if that should be in shadow as well. Oh yeah, you can kind of see it's doing it, but yeah, I don't know why it's like half. It's like not going full. I don't know, maybe it never did and I didn't notice. Maybe, I don't know, I'm not convinced. I know that it can work the way I want. I want to look at the old model real quick again and see, and just inspect it. Maybe this was always an issue that I just never noticed. Because I know the neck... actually, yeah, maybe it was always broken and I just didn't notice it. It's possible. So let me open the image editor for the old model and go to the ILM map, and I'm just paying attention to the green channel, which I know it's hard to see when it's all combined like this, but I think, actually, yeah, this might have been always a problem that it doesn't seem to, oh. Ooh. Maybe not. No, because the only reason this is in light is because, well, that bit's on a gradient. But every bit that's in full blue, oh, doesn't seem to have that problem. But, oh, I'm starting to, okay, it must be the vertex paints then. Because it seems to be okay, so I think I have to use the texture and vertex paints together, but I haven't done vertex painting in a long time. So I'm gonna pick that up in my own time when I'm not live, because that's gonna be so boring. What I'm instead gonna do is just move on and get the colors in place. And then I'll work that out later, because watching me Google stuff is not fun. But I do know, using my imagination, I do know that this area needs to be in shadow. So let me just select so I know which parts are meant to be. I know that maybe not that far out. Okay, maybe I need to put a try there for that to work. I don't know. But I want to at least get that bit, wherever that is, on the texture map. Okay, I think I know where that is. Yeah. So I'll shade that in the color it needs to be. So that is the, let me open the Photoshop file again. What does ILM mean? It means, that's funny, isn't it? So CQ says, what does ILM mean? When I Google ILM map, the only game dev result is my video. Yeah, I know, that's actually quite irritating for me, because this was an issue I had with environments, because I made this video called Anime Environments, except I didn't fully get it. But it was like work in progress for me trying to do an anime environment. But because it's such a niche topic, it's like the most viewed video on that topic. But it doesn't really, I don't think now that I've done more, I don't think it really, I wasn't really that close. I was like on the tip of the iceberg, but I didn't get underneath the iceberg on that. So I'm really irritated because I was trying to look up some texturing thing and I searched how to make anime environment Unreal, and then my video comes up and it's like, well, I already know that next, and then like I haven't been able to find much, so I've had to just kind of sit there and work it out by myself, which is like it's not ideal, but that's how it is, I guess. But to answer your question, ILM stands for Inner Line Map, I think, even though it does more than that, but that's the name. And we'll get to the line work at the end, because that's the fun bit. So the line work is going to go on this texture, but it's going to go in the alpha channel. That's why it's called it's really weird. It's such a weird name, isn't it? It's like the texture name is ILM, but only one of the color channels actually controls line work. So that's kind of funny. Oh, wait a minute. Let me just double check, because, okay, this is the one bit of the texture I don't know from memory, and that is under the arm. Okay. All right, okay. No, I think I was, oh no. Is this the right, okay, no, okay, I know, it's here. I thought the UVs had changed, and I'm like, no, did these change? You know? Because sometimes, this sounds crazy, right? But sometimes I'll have, like, dreams that I've like UV'd something, but it was a dream, and then I wake up and then I open the real UV map and I'll go like, oh, I thought I had done that, and it was like, oh no, I dreamt it. And those are the worst. I hate when that happens. Makes you question your it's like being in a Mr. Robot episode. You like wake up and it's just like, wait, I don't remember doing that, or I thought I had done that, but I didn't. And it's confusing. So I'll make a new, call this skin again, I guess, and we'll paste layer style, fill this with black. So that should get that area under the arm the way I want. I'm gonna have to copy these to the blue channel. Oh, I didn't, no, did I do that? No, okay, that might have been why it looked weird. It might have been why the neck didn't look right, because I didn't copy it to the blue channel. Let's try doing that, because maybe I was wrong about needing vertex paints. I don't know. Because I'm still not really convinced by that, but it's probably because I didn't have it on the blue channel. God, I'm silly. All right, well, let's copy these two. I only did them on the green channel. I don't know why they also have to be on the blue channel, but there's probably a reason. Or maybe I set it up wrong, I don't know. So let me just... I think this has to be in white. Copy layer style. Paste layer style. All right, let's... Oh, and there's something else. That should be in white. Oh, what is that though? What's going on? What is that? Oh, that's the mouth. Why does that have this? Why does it have, I must have colored this in wrong. That shouldn't be that color. That should be... Oh. What? Oh no, there's something else. Wait, what is this? Sorry, I'm just like, I've added something that I shouldn't have added. Okay, let's look at it a color channel at a time. What have I got filled in black here on the green channel? That's the teeth. I don't know, why are they... Oh, I think I found another little mistake. I forgot. Okay, so here's the thing about Photoshop, is that when you make a Photoshop document, it gives you a white layer as the default background. And anything that's in white, I have forgotten to add a color block for. And I was just relying on the background color, but I've made the background color black. So now now the teeth are the wrong color. And you can't see it because her mouth is closed, but she does have teeth. And I'm like, why is there this thing here? The teeth shouldn't be that color. So it's because I don't actually have a texture for them. Oh, all right, well, let me fix that. Let me fix that. Oh, that's silly. So that should be white. And then that, well, in the green texture, it should be gray. And I have to go and change the base texture to fix that too. So I'll open up the base. Yeah, I was just a bit bamboozled there. I was like, what's going on? Why is the teeth doesn't have any color? What's going on? No, okay, that makes sense. So that's meant to be that color. God, that's silly. All right, well, let's, I should probably re-export. Well, if I look inside her mouth, what's going on? Oh. Well, the teeth are... Alright, I don't know. They're still the right color for whatever... Oh, it's probably because I'm using the Photoshop file as the base texture. That's probably why. Yeah, it's using the Photoshop file. So if I change that to actually use the exported version, it'll be in black. So yeah, she'll have like completely rotted teeth. God, that's awful. Sorry, Gabi, I didn't mean to. Gabi, you gotta brush your teeth. Too much candy, and now her teeth have gone. Her entire tooth is just a big filling. The entire thing. That's her teeth there, by the way. It's I know it's hard to see because it's all black, but if I open her mouth, she'd look like a pirate. So we don't want that. We don't want that. So let me re-export the base. Oh, that's so silly. So that's, yeah, always like in Photoshop, just make the background gray, just so you don't miss stuff like that. That's my advice. Don't use white background, you'll forget that stuff that's meant to be in white. Okay, so if I refresh that, her teeth should... Oh yeah, no, eyes were the wrong color too. Okay, now it's back to normal. Hooray. Now her teeth are clean. She's got her teeth back, guys. Hooray. Except for some reason her teeth are like very, very bright. Like there's no shadows on them. Okay, no, that's too far the opposite direction. Now she's got like Wiggles teeth. What's going on? She's got like the ultra white Oral B teeth. That isn't good either. That's too extreme. It's not okie dokie. We don't want that. What's going on? Why is that happening? So let's look at my specular size. Okay, well that's just the background. Occlusion. Oh, it's in gray. So okay, well, I don't know why her teeth are shiny now, but I guess she is now a certified wiggle, and that's, oh god, that's probably I don't know if anyone outside of Australia will get that joke, but did anyone outside Australia know who the Wiggles were? Out of curiosity. And if you don't know them, you'll know them because they smile and their teeth are just, you put a hue shift over their teeth and they will be FFFFF, like that's the color. It's like pure white. That's why I call them Wiggles teeth, because their dental hygiene is just immaculate. You watch the Wiggles from the US? Cool, alright, well someone knows. Macaroni knows, yeah, fruit salad, that's the best. The Wiggles, Goobear says the Wiggles scared him. I'm so sorry. I know, we do things pretty extreme here in Australia. Sorry to give you a fright there, mate. Just giving you some fruit salad. All right. Now I'm going to be thinking about the Wiggles teeth. Oh, okay, let's stay focused. Let's stay focused. I don't want to. I'm so tempted to just go watch the Wiggles, but we got a job to do. We got textures to make. Well, yeah, so let's try how this works now that I've got the bits marked in blue. Let's merge that. Let's give it a shot. All right, so if I refresh the ILM map, let's see what happens. Okay, her teeth have shadows now. Yes. All right, it's okay, Gabi. You're not a wiggle anymore. You're just a normal girl now. Her teeth have shadows. Well, her top teeth have shadows anyway. So that's what that dark gray blue is. I know it's very hard to see because I've zoomed in. I know where all this is, so I know that's her teeth. Let's look at her neck. I know it's... all right, well, the shadows they're filling in a bit more, but for whatever reason, they're still not staying there absolutely, which is a bit irritating. But you can see it's sort of working the way I want. It's just, I don't know, there's probably something else I'm missing, but in terms of the texture colors, it's got that bit of shadow there. Gee, I don't know, maybe you have to do a combo of vertex and... I mean, I don't know why. I don't know why. All I know is that that's the only difference between this and my last attempt, was that I used vertex painting last time. But it's on a texture map, so I don't get why that would be any different. So I don't know. That's a game theory I'll have to work out another time, but at least, you know, we got a bit of something there. Like, she's got the you know, and you might be thinking, well, Ray, why does her neck need to be in shadow? And this is what to bring it all full circle, because I know I'm going very in detail here, but to bring it in context, big picture, the art style, this anime style, the Arc System Works style, is all about one word, and that is intentionality. That's what makes a drawing look like a drawing. That's the difference between something like, I don't know if anyone remembers like Appleseed. It's like a very old early 2000s animated 3D movie in the anime style, but I use that example a lot because it's like one of the earlier 3D anime movies, and it looks very 3D. I'll bring up a reference. because I love, this is like a brilliant example of like what I'm trying to do, I guess. So this was, I think it was 2004 this came out. Yeah, it is. Okay, I was right, 2004. God. See, that's a weird thing. I don't remember vertex painting, but I will remember what year random movies came out. Is there any like footage from the actual film apart from just the box art? All right, well here's a snippet from the movie. Here's an even better one. So here's from the movie, and I know it's not very well lit, but look at the shadows. I want you to look at the shadows. And it's an instant giveaway that it's, oh, this is a 3D movie. And this is only a frame. When you see it in motion, it becomes even more obvious. Because it's animated like a 3D, like a CG movie. This frame looks actually a little better, but you can still see it. There's some giveaways. That's what I call them. I call them giveaways because it's like, you look at it, and what's making it look not like a drawing? What's making it look off? And to me, it's these shadows. These are a bit too jittery. No person drawing would draw the shadow like that. Or in this frame. I mean, they're smooth, they're kind of smooth, but no one is gonna... It's too detailed. Like the little contours. No one is gonna go that hard on shadows for one frame like that. Or even with the hair. That's why I'm deliberately avoiding texture detail, because you look at the hair and it's so textured. There's so many lines and strokes. No traditional animator is gonna do that every frame. So, I mean, the movie is cool, but in terms of the style... It's like, I don't know, it probably wasn't trying to look anime. Probably not. It's probably on purpose that they wanted it to look this way, but I want to make it clear that this isn't the look I'm trying to do. This is the look I'm trying to avoid. I'm not saying it's a bad look, I'm just saying I don't want this. Is there a better... I'm trying to find like other examples of the lighting... Because it's the giveaways. It's usually just little things that you don't really think about, but... Like here, you can see, it looks like a computer is generating that shadow, right? Like, just from a glance, like you can kind of tell, it's like, oh, that's a computer generated that shadow. So when Arc System Works, if you've watched their talk, when they talk about intentionality, I know mine's still a way off from this, right? But the principle is like, if the reason why that this looks CG is because it's too perfect. Like the mathematics is too precise. The cheek shadow and stuff, it's a little too perfect. Because a human would make shortcuts there, or they would shade something different. Now there's a lot of ways, because the goal is to eliminate that stuff. It's to make it on purpose imperfect, deliberately. That's the objective. So that's why obviously I haven't done it all here today, but one of the ways is by controlling stuff. So that's one of the things I really do like about this style is that you get there's two things. It's a double-edged sword. I love it because you have to control everything, but I also hate it because you have to control everything. So that's kind of the drawback, is that it takes a lot of time to make something where everything is intentional and on purpose and deliberate. It takes a while. That's why this model, a normal 3D model wouldn't take this long. But considering that Arc System Works, the studio that made these techniques, they have people that have been working there 20 years in the industry, and they take like 3 months to do one character. So considering that, I'm not doing so bad. But the idea is that, you know, you have to like eliminate that 3D look. And part of it's going to be normal editing, which we're not going to get to today because that's a whole other topic. There's the textures, there's the lighting, and this is where some of that comes in. So a lot of the work I was doing on my previous streams, like the modeling streams, it probably wasn't obvious there, but I was really fixating on a lot of little bits, and I know it was probably looked really weird looking at it from the outside, going like, why is he obsessing over the kneecap or one of these pieces or the eyes or whatever? And it's because, like, to be able to control things like this, you need to have the model set up a certain way, which is what I failed to do on the last model. So for example, getting that shadow to show up exactly along this contour means you have to topologize the model so that that exact contour is on the model. A lot of stuff like that. But it also means, yeah, like having the material where you can control where shadows go and stuff, like all of that stuff. It seems minor, because the shadows and light exist anyway. you know, so what's the point? But it's like, it's because you want to control where they are so that it looks a little less like a computer did it and more like you did it, because you did. As I've been doing this stuff, like me picking where the shadows go, that's the artist me, that's me choosing stuff. And on a big picture level, I believe that's what makes drawings look like drawings, because you could draw this and be mathematically perfect. Even if you were to draw it by hand, if it was mathematically perfect, it would look strange. It would. Whereas if you did draw it freehand, because all the things that make it look freehand is the things that the artist chooses that isn't calculated. So that's why a lot of this is part of the workflows for that reason. And thanks so much, Bergman, for resubscribing. Appreciate it, man. Being a supporter. Member 12 months. Yeah, that's incredible, dude. Thank you so much. That's a full year. Incredible. Elijah says they intended it for be anime? Did they? Appleseed? I mean, maybe. I don't know. The thing is, I don't know. Like, honestly, I don't know. I didn't make the movie, but the thing that I also love about this technique is that you could have done this in 2004, because the technology isn't new. Like, me making textures with color channels and with this material, with this modeling, like that stuff you could, that's the kind of thing I love about it, is that it's actually very simple. Well, it isn't. It's not simple, but the technology is simple. Like, it doesn't need you could do this on like a Windows XP computer and it would work. And I love that. I think that's really cool. Obviously, I can't get the game to run on an XP computer because it isn't supported anymore, but I would so love to. But yeah, but that's kind of the cool thing, is that if I wanted to, and if people had, the only thing is I just think people didn't, I think like maybe someone else had figured this out before Arc System Works, I don't know, but they're technically, the thing that I love is that there's technically, before Guilty Gear and stuff, there was nothing stopping anyone from like doing this technique on the PS2 or the PS3 era. I think the only limit would have been poly count. So you could have done a low poly version, or if you're doing a CG movie, you probably could have done it like this, but anyway, let's think. Is there any other bits of the textures I have to do? There is, actually. I need to do underneath the chin here. I want this to be in shadow as well. So I'll have to, in my own time, I'm gonna like review the shader to make sure that there isn't some weird problem with it, because I feel like the shadows should be a bit more aggressive. But I mean, it gives us enough of an idea of what's going to be in shadows. So for the stream, well, I'll just deal with it for now. But I want there's this whole piece here. I just want to see where this is on the UV map, and I want to shade that in. Okay, that's this piece. I know where that is. That's here, I think. Yeah. Oh, I've got too many windows. So I'm just going to adjust the light so that when I do this. So yeah, because the thing is as well, and you'll see that I've got a bit of that going on, is that when I have the light at a certain angle, you can actually see, if I turn the hair off, you can see that the shadow is actually kind of following the cheek. And that's actually not me putting that shadow there with materials, that's me doing that with the topology. So that's the other thing too. The reason why this has been really hard for me, like I've had a really tough time trying to explain this as I've been going, because it isn't just one thing that does it. It's like, it's all of it. And part of like for the cheek, the reason that works is because I have the polygons along that cheek in a specific spot so that that shadow comes in. And that isn't even with the custom normals, which is that's another thing. I'll have to explain that another day. But just with topology alone, you actually, if you kind of understand what to do, you can get it to sort of put shadows in places you want. Of course, you know, what I additionally want with the face at the moment, at least, is I'd like for this bottom bit to be in shadow, which you can't, that's the sort of thing you can't really do with the model topology. That's something you have to do with the texture. Or normals, or both. I guess you'd have to kind of, you have to kind of use all of these things. So I want to have that bottom half always in shadow, kind of leading off from the neck. maybe the bits under the eyes too, like just the eyelid. I'm not sure, maybe. But anyway, let's take it a thing at a time. And I gotta think of, and there is bits on the fingers I also want to get to, so I'll just get through that and see how we go. And then there's the specular stuff. I gotta remember that too, but I just want to get the shadows for the moment. I think the specular might be hard because when I had the old model open, we couldn't really see it that well. So I might have to, I don't know, because this shader is from, I wrote this shader years ago. There might be some things that aren't right with it, but it's going to take me a little bit to, I have to like sit and focus and like figure out what's going on with it. So that's something I'll probably do off stream. Anyway, so yeah, so this little island here is underneath the neck. So I just got to find the set of layers. So this will go back to grayscale. It's a bit easier to see. In fact, I could probably combine these two to one layer. So if and I just gotta think, is there anything else that I'm missing from the shadows that I want in shadow? The fingers, that's right. The fingers might be a bit tricky because they're very small. But I think, yeah, because last stream, I'll show you with the fingers. Because last stream, I don't have the line work layer on, so you can't see it, but we added a bunch of creases to the hand. And what I said I wanted to do was that I drew it with line work. But I know it looked really harsh because it was like full black lines on the hand. And what I said I wanted to do later was that I wanted to make it so that I had like lines for where the fingers bend, which I don't have them turned on right now, but I had line work drawn there. And I said I was going to make it so that those were shadows instead of lines. So let's do that. And luckily, because of the work I did last week, because I did them temporarily as line work, but this is where I put the lines so that the fingers would have creases on them. So all I have to do, because of the work I did last week, is that I just have to take those two areas and... Do I want to take this top bit? I'm not sure. Yeah, screw it. I'll take it. I'll take this part as well. This is the fingernail. So I'll take that and... Wait a second. Okay, because I had the line work layer on. I had them both on and I'm like, wait, is that already there? No, it isn't. So we need to go to this layer for the skin and just mark that in black. And that will make those shadows instead of lines. So I'm going to try and re-export this again. Is there a button? I saw there was a button in Photoshop that would just let me flatten everything. Flatten image. Oh, wait, let me save. Let me save first. Because I just want to... Oh, wait, no. No, I've got them on... something's wrong. They're not the right color. Oh, no, because I don't have them on the blue channel. I knew something was off. Yeah, it was because I didn't have them on the blue channel. Because the shadows are more intense when I seem to put them on the green and blue channel. So let me do that. I gotta remember that step. Actually, you know what? Oh. Do I want to do that? No, I think I'll keep... I was gonna try and see if I could shortcut it with the blue and just make it copy the green, but there are some differences and I don't want to find out what they are. So I'm just gonna keep doing it the slightly longer way of copying it to the blue channel. All right, so now, oh, just save. There we go. So let's export that out and try it, because I think now we should have shadows on those bits. ILM. Okay, so if you can actually see, yeah, the shadow color is looking a lot nicer on the hand too. So if I go refresh, oh yeah, you see it? There we go. You see these little, I know it's a bit hard to see. If I could get the light at a better angle, that'd be nice. Let's try a different background or a different strength. But you can see that there's it's now using it on a shadow instead of on the lines. That's kind of cool. I wonder, does it do it for the fingernails too? I think it might. Yeah, and it also shades the fingernails. So I reckon that'll probably look a bit nicer than having them as solid lines. So that's pretty cool. So that's kind of the thing that the ILM map lets us do. Now, in terms of shadows, oh yeah, now I was gonna, did I do the neck? I gotta remember. Okay, I did finish. I finished that. That's cool. So the only thing I really want to try out next is getting. I'll just pick like a. Just trying to pick a material, like a brightness level that will not clip stuff. So you can actually see with the armpit. I don't have it perfect yet. Okay, so okay, so these faces I need to mark in shadow, because the shadows, you can see I've marked that shadow on the armpit, but then it just vanishes because I didn't fully connect it. So I'll have to fix that. I just gotta see what layer that's on, or which part of the UV that is. Oh, it's on. Oh, it's on a bit of an angle. I don't like that. I'll have to. Because when you have something on an angle like this, because you want this line being straight. So what I'm gonna do, I'm going to put something on the texture, and then I'll adjust the UVs afterwards, because that is, I didn't know that would be part of it. But that is, yeah, so that is this piece. So I'll just temporarily put like a bit here for the, and then I'll move the UV islands afterwards. So if I go to, yeah, so I'm just gonna mark that, I think. Why is it not filling? There we go. I should rename this to skin shadow, because I have two layers named skin. So that's the green layer done. Let's get the blue layer. There we go. Now, let's talk for a second about there's a color map I've been neglecting, and that is the specular map. Now, the reason is because I'm not sure how easy it's going to be to see in Blender. I know in Unreal it'll look better, but because I haven't touched the material editor in a while, I don't want to mess something up. So what I'm going to try and do for the hair is I'm going to try and get some specular on it with the color channels. And I'm just going to mark the whole thing in one color, and we're just going to see what happens. And I just got to remember how I did it on the old. So on the old texture, I just want to see what I did. So it looks like the bits that were in specular I marked in red. And I just want to see what I did with the blue texture. Okay, the blue. I think I used red and blue, it looks like. Now, I know that I didn't quite use this right, so it's going to take me a bit of trial and error to work out the specifics, but I want to at least get a start on it, and then it'll start making sense when I start messing around with it. So all of the hair is all on this part, I believe. So I'll mark. Actually, I've got a layer for this already, the hair layer. So I'll copy that to the red channel and the blue channel, and we will try it out. Actually, what I'll do, I'll just copy the entire. I'll copy everything over to the red channel, and then mark it as black. Actually, I could. No. I'll copy it from the. Does the blue channel? Okay, the blue channel already has those. Because I want to make sure that when I have it, that the blue is explicitly, sorry, the red, anything that isn't specular is explicitly marked as black in the texture channel so that it doesn't try and do stuff to it. So I just got to make sure I am very precise and clear with what I want. So this is the red channel. I'll put it in black and white. And what I want is the red channel is going to be what's specular, and you can see that there's stuff marked in white that shouldn't be marked in white. So we want this all except the hair to be marked in black. So I'll copy this color overlay that marks it in black. You can see hair shadows marked in white, and we don't want that. The actual hair itself we will mark in gray. Like a... We'll mark it in this color and see what happens. Because I haven't used these textures in a while, so your guess is as good as mine on what will go down, but I'm sure it'll become evident once we do it. We'll then mark this as black for everything else. So the mouth, we don't want her teeth having... No, we don't want her teeth having specular on. I was gonna say, well, maybe, but no, we don't. We don't want her teeth having an anime 3-tone shine. It's gonna look kind of silly. And the skin, yeah, all right. So that, and then for the eye itself, we get rid of the specular and the whites. And yeah, so that's what the red channel will look like. It's just gonna be the hair. Marked in... Ignore the bright red bits are just the bits that, like, those are the bits that the texture isn't covering. That's like the background layer. So the actual, if I isolate it on its own, that's how the red channel looks. I'm not sure if I'll also need to, I might need to also combine that with the blue channel. So we'll try that. So for the hair, we will color that in with the same, I'm just gonna do it the same tone. This shade of gray, and it's gonna look purple. And then I'm gonna turn on the green channel and it's gonna look like that. So it looks really weird. And we'll try it. What should happen, here's what I'm thinking should happen. We'll see this kind of white volume on the hair. And if I rotate the light around, you'll see this sort of white halo. That's what I think will happen, but I haven't done this in a while, so I don't know. I don't know if it'll work, but we'll it's worth a try. So if I merge layers, we'll export this out. Because I'm just using this based on what I did for Gabi's old texture. So if I refresh this, okay, it did do what I thought, but it's very faint and it's hardly, it's really hard to see with YouTube's compression. So I don't know if that's something I can show because you probably won't be able to see it. But there is a slight, there is a very, very, very slight white fill on the hair. I don't know, you guys tell me if you can see it. It's very faint, but there is something there. Can you guys see it? You can see it? All right, cool. It's very faint. I like it to be, except here's the problem. And this is the thing that I need to work out, is that I want it to not be as... Okay, it's kind of doing what I want. From this angle, you can see it's kind of doing what I want a little, but not fully. So ignore these lines, because I haven't merged all these hair pieces yet, because I still want to mess around a little with the shape. So I've got this as symmetry, and this is as asymmetry. So ignore that, but look at that little bit coming out here. It's got that kind of like... that shape. I like that. One of the reasons I made the hair simpler, because I know some of you aren't a fan of the new hairstyle, but one of the reasons I simplified the hair a lot is so that the lighting would kind of have that roundy, the shadows would be a lot less complicated and jank. So I like the way that the specula's going, except I want to tone it down a little bit because it is very, it's a bit much. I want it to be more intense, but I want the threshold to be lower. So I want the specular to shrink, but I want it to be brighter. So I think that's what the red and blue channels control, if I remember this correct. So let's look at what I've labeled them. I think blue is the occlusion for the specular. Yes, it is. Except it seems to influence the shadows too for some reason. So that is one of nature's mysteries. But the idea is, it looks like I'm gonna have to turn down the blue channel for the hair. I think that's what I think I should do. So let's give that a shot. So I've got the hair here. We're gonna mark that. We're gonna like go very like this color. It's very dark. This is like, in terms of the grayscale, that's how it looks. We're then gonna go to the red channel and make it brighter on the red channel, because these different color maps control different properties. And I'm just going off memory, but I believe the red channel is the intensity of the specular, I think. Which would that actually might make sense why I need the... I think the blue channel needing to be used for the blue channel needing to be used for shadows, I think it's starting to make a bit of sense now when I think about it like that. I don't know. I won't think about it too long. Let's get the red, and let's crank that to... I'm just gonna go white and see what happens. See what it looks like at its peak. So I'll turn off the UVs, turn all the colors back on, and actually while we're here, we'll do the line work. So thankfully, I have them on their own layer here from the other week. Let's apply this to the alpha channel. And the way I'm gonna do that is quite simple. I'm just going to select everything with just the line work, and then apply it to the alpha channel. I just gotta remember how. Okay, there we go. That's now the alpha channel. So if I look at everything, because the alpha channel is gonna add the line work on top of everything. And that's why we have it on the ILM texture, not on the base texture. Because the ILM map, which I've been working on this stream, is very weird, as we know, and how to explain? It modifies the base color, but if we have the line work on the base color, it'll also modify the line work, which we don't want. So I just, from memory, my shader code does something where it does all that lighting stuff, and then it adds the line work on top of the base texture, which is why it can't be on the base texture, because that's, you know, they're all one image. You can't have layers like that unless you use like color channels like what I'm doing. So that's why I've got the line work here on the alpha, so that I can apply that after it's done all the lighting stuff. So if I save that, we should now have the inner line work, because at the moment the outer line work's there, but all of the line work inside is all gone. So we can probably close this now. So we can bring it back by exporting this now. So we go TGA, ILM. Yes, we want to replace. And then if I refresh, check that out. So now the hair specular has gone wild. So that's kind of interesting. And we got the inner line work back. And now the line work doesn't change. It doesn't like change color when it's in light or shadow. It stays black, which is what I want. Now, I've had some inner monologue about colored lines, because I know that that's something that some animes do, some don't. I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that, because the models that I found from Arc System Works, they had black outlines. But I wanted to do more research, so I ended up actually buying one of the games. which I probably should have done a while ago. So that's kind of interesting. This whole time I've been talking about Arc System Works, but I haven't actually played Guilty Gear or anything. So I went and bought it, and they have this gallery mode where you can actually zoom in. You can like put a figurine of the character in the screen, and you can zoom in and stuff. So it was quite insightful actually looking at the models in game rather than just some ripped version of it online. And interestingly, they do some things in game that they don't talk about on the GDC talk. I noticed when I was looking at the model in the gallery view that some of the outlines are colored, not all of them, but some of them are. But they also change thickness based on the camera. So if the camera's far away, the lines get really thick, and if the camera's really close, the lines will actually get thinner. But it isn't. I don't know if it's a post-processing thing, because they still use a vertex map to control the line width, which is something I'm going to do later on. So that's for those who've been looking at the model. So all these little bits here with the line where it kind of pinches here, and there's this sort of artifacting around the eyes and mouth. So that's something I'm going to take care of later, because what we can do with this line, outer line, is actually weight it so that it becomes thinner and thicker at certain points. So I'm going to get to that later on. But what I don't understand is, I'm sure I'll be able to work it out, but what I don't understand yet is how Arc in-game were able to make it so that the outer line was controlled with a vertex weight, but it also changed thickness based on the camera distance. It might be I want to say it might have been like a blend shape, because I know or a camera volume, or I don't know the name of it, but people were asking me if I was going to use these for Gabi's face, not for the line work, but for her facial expressions. If I was going to make blend shapes and, you know, have her face change shape depending on the camera angle. And I elected not to do that because Arc System Works don't do that. They instead use topology to make the face look the right way from different angles. So I don't know how those work in Engine anyway. But it looks like they've done something with the lines to make them change thickness based on the camera distance. So I don't know what. I'm not convinced it's post-processing, because I don't know if you can actually, maybe you can, I don't know, but I don't know if it's possible to make an outer line post-process material that is also somehow uses vertex paint data from the model. If that's possible, then that means it's post-processing. But if it's not possible, then I don't know what. But that's a future Ray problem. So we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves there. So we won't bother trying to solve it today. But I just thought I'd bring it up just so you know that that's kind of coming down the pipeline later. But in terms of color lines, I'm not sure yet. I'm on the fence. But anyway, on the specular front. So this is a bit of a crude example because it looks very, very rough. And this is probably going to be something I'll have to revisit for normal editing. But you can see how the specular kind of works, right? When I've got I know it's very intense, but the idea is you have this sort of tone that kind of comes in. So I think what I might do, because I think I might have to like designate areas on the hair where I want the specular to come in, maybe. But I want to try one more thing before I call it, because it's nice to know that the specular at least works. Like, we can see it. Like, that's good to know. One thing I don't know yet is how I want it to behave on this. So I think for things like metal, you want it like this, where it kind of, it goes over everything, you know? So I want to see what this looks like if I tone it down even more. Not the intensity, but the occlusion. I'm curious to see what happens. So that's the red channel. So that's, oh no, sorry, it's the blue channel. That's what this is. So this little area up here, that is controlling how the threshold for when the specular begins. Not the intensity, but the threshold. So I want to see how low I can make it with just for the whole area, because I imagine I'm gonna have to like mark zones, but I just want to see what it looks like if I make it like close to like gray but not fully. Just just out of curiosity. So if I go here and change, if I go even darker to something like 16 or 17. So it's like a 6% bright. I just want to see. I gotta see it. I'll turn those all on. TGA. I'm just overwhelmingly curious because I've like looked at this. I kind of get what the specular does more than I did when I did the first model. And okay, so it looks like it's pretty, we can kind of see on the ear. I don't fully like it, but I kind of like what it's doing on the ear a little bit. You can see it creates this little tip. So I think the idea is for the hair, I'm gonna have to designate specific areas where I want the specular. And for things like the armor, which I haven't finished modeling, like that's still in the early modeling phase. Can I bring that up just to show you for those that didn't see it earlier? Where is it? There we go. So this sort of effect, like just looking at the ear only, how it has this little specular dot, I might do something like that for the armor so that it has this sort of specular look where it's the entire thing, it has the threshold on it so that the specular can go, because I think, I'm trying to think of a better way to explain it. I think what it is that when you have something marked, if it's marked all as a low threshold color, that means the specular can go anywhere in that area. And then the blue controls how intense it is. So I've got the blue on full so that it's pure white. But the red basically says, hey, this is where the specular can go. And because I've marked the entire head and ear as traversable, I suppose you could say, by the specular, it means the specular can go anywhere in here. So obviously for the hair, that isn't really going to work. But if you imagine it for the anything metallic, or the maybe like the gloves even, you can kind of make, well, let's try adding a bit of that to the undersuit, because I think that might play a little bit nicer than the hair with this sort of shading. Let's see how that'll look, because I do want the costume to have not a lot, but just a little bit of like kind of shininess. So yeah, now that I've like messed around, I think I get what these do now. I remember now what they do. So let's, for the undersuit, luckily those are only in these specific areas. So, and I think I should have them designated on the, so that's, I think it's the blue specular size. So when I mark something in blue, except for the shadows for whatever reason, which I still haven't worked out, but the idea is, anything that isn't in shadow, it's like telling it if it's in blue or a dark blue. Because that's another thing okay, the only thing I haven't quite worked out is how... I think it's just a matter of... I'll work it out. I haven't... Let me think about that more before I say it, because there's something about the intensity of the blue. Well, I guess threshold is the best word to describe it. So I'm going to mark the leg, which is all undersuit, and the body, which is all undersuit. Actually, no, I've already got that as a... yeah, I've already got that layer. So let's change the color overlay to 10% blue. Or 10% brightness, I should say. So it's gonna look very faint. But you'll see. So now everything's gonna look like a dark navy blue for the armor. And then there's the gloves are on that layer. Okay, so that's it. That's all I have to do. And if I know it's very repetitive, exporting, re-exporting, but that's the job. Go to smart object, TGA. Oh, it's still not working. Oh, because it's made it a smart object. Sorry, that's my bad. Merge layers. Image mode 8 bits. TGA ILM. Yes. All right. Now if I refresh it, we should get a bit of specular on the armor. Oh, oops! I left the. Oh no! I left the thing on the you know, the thing, the UV overlay. Oops. Except it does kind of look a bit funny because now we've got this like shiny wireframe around the character. So that's kind of that's amusing. Oh, I forgot to use the red channel. Okay, no, that wasn't gonna work anyway. So because I don't have any there's no specular intensity, but the specular will go. It will go on this. It's just there's no intensity yet. So that's, sorry, my mistake. Sorry, I think my brain's getting tired. I'll probably have to head off soon. But I just want to try that out. So for the red, I'm gonna make, because I don't, it's all black still, which isn't good. So I need to make it so that the red is like a mid gray, I reckon. Because I don't want it to be pure white. I want it to be like soft specular. So we'll make it mid gray and see what happens. All right. Okay, now and then I gotta remember to turn off the UV overlay. So now it looks, you can see it looks kind of weird, the yellow and green and stuff, but it all makes sense. Are you gonna do the gradient metal style? Oh, I think I mentioned that on the Discord. I think I'm gonna use that for environments. I don't think, no, I think that'll be too much detail for the character model. It is cool though, there is a name for it, but I don't remember the name for that. I think I know the one you mean. I don't remember the name of the style, but it's the specific kind of anime shading that I would see in a lot of Japanese games. And I finally, well, I forgot it now, but there was a time where I remembered like this name of this the style of shading that they use for metal. And I was like, man, that's so cool. But I think that's something the level of detail is a bit beyond this. It's something I do for environments, but I also can't go over budget with environments either. So I'm trying to look out for ways to simplify it a bit. Because man, I haven't mentioned this yet, but I found a article about the Arc System Works environments, because I've been reading a bunch about the characters obviously, but I found one about their levels, and oh my god, it is so much work, and I'm like, okay, I don't think I'll be able to pull that off, but they look incredible, but it's painful. It is so painful when you look at how they do it. It's actual hell. It's like, oh. To give you an idea, so the environments, they do look great. They look the most convincing anime environments I've seen in any game. However, there's a few constraints. The only reason they can look that way, I'll bring up an example in a moment, because some of you might not have seen them. But oh yeah, see the specular's coming in now. I know it looks a bit jank, because this is going to be something that isn't really going to look good until we do normal editing. But you see how it creates these sort of white specular areas? So I might have to tone down the intensity, but that's sort of the idea. That's the idea. So it looks good from certain angles, like from here. It has this sort of nice shine to it. I might have to up the intensity a bit. I still need to work out, I think the blue channel I don't fully get the more I look at this. I think I'll have to research more on what the blue channel does. I'm sure it'll come to me. Well, actually, you know what? This actually is sort of what I expected. You see down the leg? That's kind of what I was imagining. And look at the tail. I didn't notice that. The tail has a bit of that on it, which is cool. Because yeah, this is something I don't do this a lot in my own drawings, but if we go look at, I had a reference of the specular. Let me crack that open. I had it in here. Yeah. So, to bring up Bakugan again, you see this, where it has the line? That's what we're doing. That's what it is. Now, I don't do this a lot in my ones, but the more I've been looking at Bakugan, the more I kind of like it. But I don't want to overdo it. So, it's not perfect, but you can see the idea is like, you know, you got this sort of specular going down the leg, kind of like this. That's what that's for. I think you see the belt. It'll look really good on something metal. I think the reason why it looks kind of jank is that it's on an organic mesh. If you put this on something metal, I guarantee you it'll look a lot better. It'll look way better on something metallic. So if I had like a belt buckle or a metal rim or a sword, it would look really good on that. It's just, it looks kind of jank on Gabi's undersuit because it's very tight and it's you know, the shape is very organic, so it's gonna look kind of weird. And it's no custom normals yet, so a lot of smoothing work still needs to be done. But that's the gist of it. But yeah, it looks like for the hair, so I'm just thinking about what I gotta do later. I think for the hair, what I'm gonna have to do is make designated stripes of where the specular can go. Because if I let it do whatever it wants, it's gonna be a mess. Because you'll notice on a lot of my drawings, I do put the specular in the same place a lot of the time. So if I show you, if you look at all of these, which you can get linked down below, if you look at like the hair, you can see that I kind of put it along in the same area for all of these. So what I'm probably gonna have to do is mark those out. And then the specular will only go there, I think. I don't know how well that's gonna work though on the way I've UV'd it. I might, okay. I can see why there might be an issue because the hair UVs are very small. So I might not have enough textile density to do that. So I might have to rethink that strategy a little. But I'm just sort of thinking ahead for what I'm gonna have to deal with later. I'm liking how it looks on the ear though. I'm liking that little sort of bit of shininess. I don't like how it goes all the way down, so I might have to mark it so that just the tip has that. And maybe just the sides, I guess. Well, actually, because then if you look at it from this angle, you got this nice kind of rim light. So I don't know, maybe I will keep it, but I'll have to tone the intensity down a little bit. And yeah. But that's sort of how some of the texturing looks with the ILM mat, which I know looks like... Oh, sorry, I didn't have my screen. Sorry, I didn't realize. But yeah, what I was saying was... Sorry, I like how it looks on the ear, where it sort of has this sort of... When you look at it from this angle, it has this sort of rim light. I like that. I don't like how it looks on the hair. And with the armor, I'll have to make some adjustments. But yeah, that's... But in terms of like... Because I have to give my brain a rest. Getting tired. But that's sort of how the specular and materials and shadows all work. You'll notice that the skin shadows in particular, I think, are a huge upgrade. Also the gloves, sorry, I didn't even notice that. Yeah, the gloves have that kind of... Because what I do like, because I actually have drawn this on one of my little stickers, is I do have it so that the fingers have this sort of... Yeah, you see it? You got this little bit going on, where it's like you've got them... bit of shininess. So I like how it's doing that, but yeah, it does need... The thing about to get this to look right is that you need to do like a combination of this and normal editing. But normal editing is like... I need to practice that more first before I show people, because I'm very rusty. I can't even remember... There's some plugin I downloaded that's meant to help me with it, but I have not tried it out yet. So I'm gonna have to mess around with that first before I feel comfortable showing it. But yeah, but I reckon that'll probably do it for today for the stream, because I'm gonna have to do some more research on things. But yeah, so that's how the materials are all coming along. That's how the texture's coming along, and the armor redesign and everything. So for the rest of the week, because I got some video stuff to do, I've got some admin work to do, and there's with the model, because for those that didn't see this at the start of the stream, I'm redesigning her armor as well, which it's a work in progress. So I've made it a lot more practical. I'll turn off the time lapse. We don't need that on now, but I'll show, for those who weren't here at the beginning, I'll find the concept for the armor before I head off so you can see what it looks like. So that's the old leg armor, and this is the new leg armor. So she's got like knee pads now. There's a bit less superfluous detail, and the joints should now go a lot better. So I've tried to just do a low poly version of that here, and I've tested it with the rig as well, and it seems to be doing good. So if I like bend the knee, I know that the thigh is still kind of broken with the weights, but if I rotate that in place, you'll notice that she can bend her leg now and it works. Like because the old armor used to clip in a lot. Like that's the old armor. And it just clips into itself constantly. So if I like take that and try and bend it, yeah, you can see it's a bit of a mess. And it's a bit clunky. Now that Gabi's sort of grown a bit, we got to make her some new armor. So that's something I'm just going to be working on in the background as well. Because once I get all that in, the modeling part will be done as well for the clothes. But yeah, it's really handy though, I will say, to be able to, because I think I did the concept in like an afternoon, but I wasn't fully sure about it. So I tried just modeling it just to see if it'll work. And having the rig already there was a huge help. Like rigging and all that first, and then going and concepting and then going back. It's so nice because then I can just test it and go, oh, well, let's see if this drawing works. And then I can test it. And it's like, all right, that works. Now I can fully detail it. So that's pretty cool. It's a bit of an out of order workflow, admittedly, but it's working out. So that's something to get excited for when the new armor arrives. But yeah, I'll probably do it for me today. I'm getting a bit tired. Normal editing is, yeah, man, I'll be honest, I'm not looking forward to it at all. I'm really not. I've also had to retopologize bits of the face. I showed this earlier, but I had to redo the cheeks, and I still need to work on them because the normal editing is very complicated. It's basically making it so that the shadows are smooth, but that they sit in the right place, and the experts can get it so good to the point where the shadows only show up on specific areas. And this isn't with textures, this is with the topology and normals. They can make it so that the shadows snap to specific parts. And that's what I was talking about earlier with Appleseed, because they don't have that. And if you can tell the model exactly where you want shadows, it'll make it look more like a drawing, because that's what a real artist will do. So that's a big, I kind of researched it and tried doing it for the last model, but there's a lot I didn't know. And I've been looking at it in the background. It's very overwhelming. I'm very terrified of it, but it has to get done. So I'll see if I can make a bit of progress on that in the background, but oh man, it's probably going to be one of those things that requires like a lot of trial and error. For reference, I was looking up some Twitter account, I think. It's like the only other Twitter account I know that like talks about the style. And I think they were saying that it took them like, it was either like a week or 2 weeks just to do the normals on the face. So just to give you an idea on like how much work is required. So if things start looking slow after this, that's probably going to be why. Because it isn't something you can just do in an afternoon, unfortunately. It's a very intensive, high fidelity style. But that's what I chose, and I'm going to stick to it and finish it. It just means that there's going to be those bits that do take a while for the normals. But when it is done, it'll pay off. Everything else has paid off so far. Like remember when this looked like a gray nothing blob? Like 2 weeks ago? Remember when this didn't have any textures at all? Remember when actually, yeah, remember I still have this. The low poly version in here somewhere. Just to show you where this has come when I started streaming this. Yeah. So remember when the model looked like this dude? So that's, just to give you an idea, so that was like a few weeks from that to that. And then the normals is, it's like one of those invisible bits, but it is very important. So yeah, I'm not looking forward to it, but it's got to get done. It's got to get done. But hey, at least we've made it this far, right? So that's kind of cool. Anyway, that'll do it for me. Oh, that Sewer says, never caught a stream live. Well, thankfully you made it just in time for the end. But he says, dude, love passion for the game. Thank you. Thanks a lot, I appreciate it. Anyway, if you want to catch more streams, I'm going to be live again next week. I don't know what I'll be up to. I'll probably have to do... I'm planning to do a bit of all of that stuff in the next week. A bit of modeling, a bit of normal editing, a bit of this and that. So I don't know what I'm going to be doing the next stream. I'm going to try and pick something that isn't boring. So I'm going to try and avoid the normal editing because that's going to be so boring. But we'll see. We'll see what we get up to. We might be texturing the armor by that point. Which is, now that I've textured the body, it's hopefully going to be a lot easier. But so if you want to stick around for that, same time next week, 12 a.m. UTC. So you can figure out what time zone that is for you. It'll just be on this channel. And in the meantime, if you want to support me, check out the stickers linked down below. If you want Gabi in your life, they're pretty cool, pretty awesome. And I appreciate that a lot. And thank you so much for the people who have donated. That's so nice. Anyway, I have to go. I'll see you guys then, next stream. Toodles.